In this part of the presentation, I want to focus on really the fun stuff, the output of all the work that goes into having a best-in-class customer profitability system for a retail bank. So here's the type of reporting and analysis that you'll be able to provide to the various groups of a retail bank organization, which as I found in my experience to be pervasive, because this is critical information to run the business. So there'll be no shortage of users. An example here of a report, let's say we're looking at some key metrics of profitability, the net income before tax, the revenue, the provision. And here we're showing it both in a data section as well as a graphical display. So here we have the bank holding company at the total information, but the power of these systems is the ability to drill down. I've now split it between retail banking and commercial, and you see that information here. And let's say we have a question today within retail banking. So we can drill down, and now you see the information by regions and the ability to drill down. I want to keep going, and let's say there's a question in the fashion branch. So now we're down to the household levels within the fashion branch. Let's say there was a particular, maybe there's a meeting with the branch manager in this household, or someone in the household today. Here are the customers or pricing relationships within that household, and then you can click and drill down and actually get down to the account level. So everyone looking at the same information from the top bank holding down to an individual accounts that roll up into a customer. So that shows you the power of the capability as well as the ability to calculate profitability at the lowest level and then roll it up. Another view here is more of an executive dashboard type view. So these obviously can be designed for whatever the needs are of the bank or of the group. You want to look at credit information, key performance indicators, maybe some top 5 branch information. This can all be easily tailored if the information is available. So here's an example of, we also want to show how the users get a lot more independence in how they want to manage and look at their dashboard information. Here we're looking at operating costs, and perhaps you'd prefer to look at net income after taxes, so you just ripple that information, and maybe I want to look at it in a column chart. So a couple charts, you can save that, and that's how you'll look at the information, because in today's day and age, you want the user wants to be able to consume the information that they want to, and there's no reason that they shouldn't be able to. Here's an example over here. It's kind of a P&L income statement, and right now we're looking at 3 regions. Let me deselect there, and let's just look at the Northeast region. So with a couple clicks for that day for that question, you see the Northeast information, and then maybe there are other days when you need to look at the whole bank, just a couple clicks, and that information becomes available. Another feature is maybe you're looking at this P&L and say, you know what, it's missing average balances. I'd like to do that. Well, as opposed to going to IT and making the request, and then several weeks later or days, you can make that request yourself. So what I'm going to do here, I'm bringing in the additional information that can be brought in. I'm going to just slide it over. And I want to bring in the average balances, which are in the measures. So I find the average balances, click, and then I'm going to drag it over, and let's put it right after net income after taxes. The average balances are added. Now I can go back into the report, and maybe I want to resize it, make it look a little neater, and then the information's there. So this is the ability to look at kind of a top level of the dashboard. Let's go to some other sections that you may want to look at. So that's kind of a summary. Let's look at some profitability information. So here we're looking at maybe some ranking by branches and where the fashion branch would fall out there. Here's also within the fashion branch the top households there. So again, if there's a client meeting, you can quickly click on household 30, or obviously the name of the people, and you would see all the information related to that household that's so valuable to the branch. So just that ability. You also can look at, instead of by branch. Let's look at profitability by product and segment. So here's a view of the fashion branch and the major products. You can click here and say, hey, I want to look at this by the ever important customer segments, and here we have 3 of them to see how the branch is doing in by taking a segmentation view. Let's jump over to market share. And here the information is loaded at a zip code level. So here we're looking at zip code 10018, that's in Manhattan, and how your bank compares there. You can click and let's take a look over in zip code 10017 and see that the bank does better in that zip. So if you're doing marketing efforts, you can really get down to that tactical level. If you have it at the zip +4, that data can be loaded as well. So again, the information in the hands of the people that can use it and affect change and help make their days more productive. Let's jump over to demographics. And here we're looking at demographics at a zip level. So this is obviously information from the Census Bureau or other sources. And you're looking at this specific zip code, and you have several measures. So here we're looking by age. Perhaps you want to look at it by household income. Perhaps you're doing a seminar. You want to know kind of where to invite and where to do the mailing. So it kind of tell you where the level of incomes that you would like to have attend that type of seminar, so you can focus your marketing efforts and targeting. Let's jump over to sales. And here for the fashion branch, you can see how it's doing in sales by the products. As always, you could switch and say have the same information viewed at the segment level and see what's performing. So again, as you see, we're covering so many parts of the daily lives of people in the branch that it's good to have this all in one place. As you know, whenever their needs are, they can just click and get to that information. Here we are in service levels. This is interesting in terms of looking at retention and how it's going month by month. This is an account level view of retention. As I say, always you can take the customer segment view and see that as well, and keep, because obviously retention is key to profitability. We can click on staffing, and then you can see certain metrics related to how we're doing staffing with the number of FTEs related to overtime. And you could look at this, in particular, we'd have all this information recorded, so you can look at ways to optimize the staffing levels within the organization. So I hope that gave you a feel for the power of the information. What I want to do now is kind of take a step back and show you the kind of ease of administration that the TM1 calculation engine offers the administrative staff that runs it. One of the focus points will be the ease of use. To have a system where an administrator can have all the information in one application to make the appropriate changes. So I'm going to take you through a few examples. Let's say there's a branch structure and a branch needs to be moved to another region. So how would that be done? So what we're going to do is I'm going to click on dimensions, and we call them entities here, and we're going to edit the dimension structure. And you see here all of the branches, and this could be obviously your bank and many more regions and branches, but we see the northeast, northwest, southeast, and let's say that there's a change in Valley Green in the southwest has to be moved to the southeast, so the administrator can just make a change that quickly. Valley Green is now there, save the information, and you now will have that effect in all of your reporting. So that's the ease of use as an example. Another example that we want to do is, let's say there's where all the rules are to do the calculations, and maybe a change needs to be made. So we do that in the cubes, and I'm going to go into the analysis section and edit rules. And here, for the purpose of this sample, we've put all the rules here to do all the calculations, and you would know, so if any changes have to be done, the administrator can just make those changes, and again, in one place versus having them in several parts, of the process. So here, let's say we need to anticipate a tax rate change to 39. You just literally enter it like that, save it, and then the information will again update across because of the in-memory capability. So that's again pretty easy to affect. A final move also, if let's say there's a need to create a new cube, it's as easy as just naming the cube. Let's call it test cube. And then saying, what do you want? Perhaps we're looking at some reporting related to products and relationships. And you can just bring in that information, create the cube, and then you'll go down and you'll see test cube. Information's there, so you can begin the analysis. Perhaps they want to develop some reporting. So the example of, I want to give that feeling of the ease of use of this in one place to get that type of capability. Scenarios, in essence, create sandboxes to change the information and see the impact over the overall profitability information, or down to a very low level, down to account, customer branch. So what we've done here in this contributor section is we need to create a sandbox where we can in essence play with this information. So here we're going to create a sandbox, and let's call it test SB. And we're going to create new, and then what I want to do is copy from existing sandbox. Let's bring in all the data from the current environment. So now that data is, now we're in our private environment to play with and see the numbers. So let's say there's some information that we predict that the cost of funds for certain mortgages is going to drop. So we're going to drop this maybe to 6% and drop this to 6%. And now the information live has now rippled. And so it's going through in memory across all the changes. Let's do a couple more. Maybe there's also some unit cost changes that have to happen. Let's say they've done a new cost study and some costs have to go up. So let's make that 4. Process an ATM transaction, maybe that's gone to 5. Okay, so making those changes in the blue, now we can go and look and see the changes, the impact it would have on the. And what you see here across the level, the blue is highlighting that those changes already have been recorded and updated in the system. So you see the blue denoting the changes. What's interesting here, and you can see the changes across many. Maybe you're looking at the fashion branch across certain quarters. Now here we're looking at the mass market information. If you wanted to maybe look at the total segment, you now see the information across the totals and how it was affected. The final point I want to show today is related to, even if you have analysts that are more comfortable in an Excel environment, how these types of changes can be made in Excel. So in this section, I mentioned if an analyst or an administrator is more comfortable working in Excel, the Excel interface perspective allows you to work seamlessly in Excel environment. So here I'm in the perspective interface, and what I'm going to do is connect to one of the servers here, the customer banking profitability. And remember, we had done that cost of funds rate adjustment. I'm going to click OK, and the information pops up, and those same changes that we made last time, we took this rate to 6.0 and this rate to 6.0. By then entering that, it will go and do the same effect, so you can go and see the changes in. So again, another example of, in addition to what we showed in the ease of administration, also even if people are more comfortable in Excel,